Welcome back to our channel, and I am Mercy
and Joanna. We are back today on a very serious topic.
Very serious.
Yes, because I think it concerns all of us. Some of us are children, some of us are parents.
Yes, some of us are aspiring to become parents. But parenting is a journey.
Yeah.
So yes, we're here to talk about parenting. What are some of the expectations that parents have towards their children? And how are these expectations affecting our children positively or negatively, or how they turn out to become in their lives?
Yeah, so what are parental expectations?
First of all, parenting itself is a journey. It's not something someone is born with. It's not something someone is born knowing. You know, we just become parents along the way. If we were parents, we would be born parents. But we just get it along the way. Therefore, after you become a parent, it's now that you're just starting to learn how to do things, figuring out who is this new person, wanting to learn them, wanting to know about them, wanting to know how you can guide them. So yes, we are here to share some of the great tips or great points that help parents here and there, that help parents to nurture their children to turn out responsible, to turn out great.
So parental expectations are actually the things or the methods or the ways that we help to shape maybe our children's lives, our children's academics, future, or even overall success.
Yeah.
You know, so these are the things that we have in mind as parents. For example, I'm expecting that my child at this age will be at school. You know, I'm expecting that they will be this when they're in high school, when they're teenagers. So these are different expectations our parents have of us, or have always had of us, and what we as parents now have of our children. Sometimes they can be unpredictable and sometimes they can be predictable, you know, because you know, there are times where as a parent you feel like you're failing. You know, there is all this that you wanted, and then your child is becoming
Turning out something else.
But that is normally in the older age. But even at a young age, you look at it, and for some reasons there are parents who want children who are so outgoing, wild, happy, ever jolly, you know, and that is what you really want. That's your expectation as a parent. But then you give birth to a child who is calm, reserved, humble, introvert. So you're now caught up. You're
in between what you want and what the child is actually.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're here to kind of give an overview, our own overview of parental expectations and what we are doing as parents and what we saw, you know, because we are going to relate the past, the present, and the future, because we are in different generations, right? We're in a generation where TV is everywhere, you know, and all that. There's a lot in our generation, you know. So as a parent, somehow we are threatened.
We're actually lost. We don't know what to hold on. We don't know what to impose. We don't know what to teach. We don't know where to guide. Yeah, most times we have seen that these parents' expectations, let's first look at the negative side of it.
Yeah.
The parents' expectations sometimes actually turn out to be bad in the children's lives. You find that, like she mentioned, a child who wanted to be reserved is not meeting the parents' expectations, and then the parent is going to feel like this child is a failure. Then probably the child has his own interests. Why now? Why you know, to grow and thrive, and the parent is not going to guide you because you turned out the character that the parent didn't want.
Yeah.
Yes, so we've seen a lot of children reaching a time gabakuze, they even reach 30 years and they're like, man, I am still where I don't want to be because my parents led me here. So I have to now just start figuring out my own path because Katindi independent.
Exactly.
And that's bad because everyone wants to do what they are called to do in this world. We don't have a lot of time on this earth. So we want to figure out our directions so fast such that we can go and perfect them. So and that's why we're here.
And to also help our children in the current generation, to help them figure out, because we're also trying to figure out, you know, but then to help them figure out at an earlier stage.
Yes.
Because imagine if your child knows you know what they want to be in high school already. They know this is it, this is that.
My interest is so much inclined to this thing, and I think I want to do this.
Yes. The government is also adjusting the education system, you know, because nayo yalabienga, the way things are, yes, because people kept on tweeting like, when I can impose the parts of a cockroach zinyambidewa.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah. How has it helped me? So the government was provoked, I think. Now, even us as parents, if the government what are we doing as parents? It means no one now again to this generation again a better
fitting
yes, and even you as a parent, your expectations are going to change. Is fitting because there are high chances as to growing up someone can become a programmer.
Oh,
you know?
Yes,
you know, something that our parents never thought of.
Ever imagined.
They knew lawyer,
yes.
They knew doctor,
teacher.
But now our brains are being opened, so even our expectations are changing. But then we have a problem of unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Now it becomes so unrealistic when it comes to a parent ng'omwana we asazeewo for some reason known to them ngabagala practical skills. You know, a child is caught in between zebanhange mami
sports
walai mpuliranga I want to become obakangabe what are these
teach
not necessarily but kale gatute practical skill.
Oh, like ayagala kufuka
ngazino zibali mukusoma in vocational schools. Nagambo banjagala becoming as a mutunzi obanja becoming maybe mechanic. But a parent again otuuka later on abere caught up in between ngayandiagadde omwana wabeere something else, but then they are caught up with what society is looking at the moment, vocational skills and all that, you know. So all these expectations as a parent, I would think, panangi, I'm stressed, you know, as a parent, like what am I doing?
Sometimes this may not affect only the parent. There are also those effects that it has actually on the child's future.
Yeah,
because we're parent, you're in your future. But your mwana future or affecting with your expectations. So what are some of those expectations that affect this child?
Yeah, exactly. It leads to lack of motivation.
Yeah,
kids like they were trying to pursue something, but when you try to show them, don't do that, let's do this, are you the one in class? You know, they are losing motivation. You're making them lose interest in whatever they are having. You know, decreased proficiency. They are no longer as proficient as they were initially when it was their idea. Watch it again. Because initially, you as a parent or let's say at a point where they're supposed to concentrate at school,
they're feeling bad about what they've been denied.
So those are some of the effects of
do you know, it's so sad the fact that some parents, we give birth to children and we want them to live a certain kind of life that we didn't live. That's part of the unrealistic expectations. Ntinze wemba safuka doctor mama ojja jifuuka oba oyagala batayagala kubanga oli mwana nze yakuzaala nze alina control okitegeera. That's how unrealistic we parents can turn out. Another thing can be from that the parents can impose onto their children can be the pressure and stress, like you're over imposing. So this excessive pressure can actually even cause stress onto the child, because you're over being like otaiza akola kano, or you're not giving them chance to even explore any opportunity. In a situation where a child wants to even just go outside and play with the neighbors, omugamba obudde bwomalanga oli muzanyo singa kale oli mukusombamu bitabo,
the pressure,
like yes, there is time for school, there is time for books, there is time for reading and everything, but for you every time, like, because for you your expectation is omwana wanga okubeera nga yasinga, oyagala obeere buli kaseera nga ali mu kitabo, buli kaseera nga ali mu kitabo, tomuwaddeyo gap kweyagala ne waba he could even turn out a good footballer, because nowadays ne ku byalo kubeerako obusaawe, omwana nga yagadde ogenda nasambayo kapiira to explore, maybe he can be a good footballer or volleyball or anything else, you know. But you as the parent, you're not letting them, okirabulabinga muzanyo, you see games as negative, you see games as bad influence.
In fact, some parents,
it's really stressful.
Fear neighbors. People now have that stigma.
Insecurity, yes.
Towards neighbors, like atiaba neighbor. My child
bayinza omuhigiriza empisa embi,
bayinza okukola kino. But me, I advise my own way. Pray for your
yes, there's nothing you can actually do. Yes, you know, us as parents, most times we find that we are over controlling these children, and this over control, it makes you feel, you as a parent, you may feel like, when I'm controlling them, then I am the one who guides them, like bulijala gamba manchakola bamanyi dada. Yes, it is our role, but we're not supposed to overdo it, because chigena nawe kumenya. In the future, ogenda tuko omwana nga alina okwebuukira eka, kwetakulira eka, nga tasobola kuvaako kuba gwe wamuteeka nnyo mu armpits zo. So that control is good a little bit, but not over. When you go over, it becomes a burden to you, and it also becomes stressful to the child. You understand? This child is going to feel like, see, I have to live the life of my parent. If I want you, for example, if I want my child, if my child has decided, you know what, katugende tuzanye kakebe, and I'm going, tuzanya kakebe, zanya chess. Chess omanyi temujja kuguba. Omwana yagadde
tablet.
Omwana yagadde ozannya omupiira. No, you can come and play video games here. There is also football. You know, like you want them to do exactly what you want, because you in your head you think that is the right thing. Oba wosobolera omu controlling it. But the truth is we can't control everything. We're human beings. Togenda kulabayo just scissor, togenda kulabayo just azanyira. It's only God to protect these children wherever they go. Like you said, the best thing is to pray. Muleka akole kyayagala, but have a limit of control. Yes.
So another negative thing could be maybe conflict between the parent's expectation and the personal interest of the child, right?
As they grow?
Yeah, it's somehow also unrealistic expectations. But then there is a conflict, ali caught in between, obviously, you know. Kati ali kusomero, banange, obwongo bwonna bumugamba. You know, I feel like whites have tried to balance that out. Nti omwana amugamba play, maybe if it is soccer, if it is debating, if it is something, what was chintu kirala kyali mukola outside that, outside school, outside classroom, you know,
and it's like a must.
And usually it is what helps them get scholarships, you know. So no, if it is not school, everything else is seen as play. Everything else is seen as play. Kati mu debating. And they told us we get some money, we are going for a school competition. Chemistry, you know. So there are some expectations as parents. You know, so there is a conflict in between the
and you know what's funny is that sometimes this thing we can't control it. The truth is someday this thing omwana kyayagala kyekijjo wangula. kubanga ne watuuka emyaka gya 3 ajja tukagamba manyi mami degree yo ndikwadde ngenze mu football wange naye singa omwana bamuleka nazanya football we wali eri ng'akyali muto koke n'agezaako balance nga we know it's hard for the truth is it's hard to balance books and this but it doesn't mean that the future lies in academics alone. Yes.
Engombo yakyuka namu. It's no longer education is the only
key to it's not the key to success.
It's not the only key.
Oh, it's not the only key. It's true. Yeah, it's not the only key.
I grew up thinking it's the only key to success.
Yeah, that's what they made us think. Or maybe by then it was because earlier our parents, by the time you finish like woberango in our degree you get a job automatically. Like you would even by then government used to even sponsor people to get degrees such that they can get jobs because jobs were available more than abetagibwa, so the demand and supply really was favorable. But right now where 1 million students graduate in a year and then the jobs available are like 20,000 my friend.
Yeah, that is why it would have been okay omwana okuba from day one ga amanyi
ka alternative.
Yes, amanyi ntino when wechigane no yiye wanene. That is why most people actually bagezaako emirimu emirala gye bakyasuubira because ultimately babisobola even though they don't have the papers to show for it. You know, so there needs to be a balance between the parental expectations and maybe the child's career expectations.
These expectations are so zirandanye, so zisigalawo even until you grow. That omwana akuze amaliriza campus era still omuzadde we agenda kusuubira nti oyina ebintu by'olina omuwa. You know, I'm expecting my cows from Madame Gondi. Naizalira abaana bange abawala nsuubiramu zikilo za sukaali nsuubiramu, you know, all those kind of things at a certain age. So in a situation for the parent, balabanga, if you have not gotten married or been taken at a certain age, and maybe you're pursuing your career or maybe you're doing something else, maybe you went abroad to do some further studies or anything else that you have replaced with the expected age of marriage, you know, it's going to be like a disappointment.
Exactly.
So kati ekyo kintu kibeera kiteeka omwana ku bunkenke okulowooza nti oba gye ngenze ku further studies I'm doing the wrong thing. Because my parent right now expects me to be married but I'm not married, so I feel like I'm being a disappointment. So the child is going to feel like tally enough, he's not satisfying you enough, she's not fulfilling what you want in one way or the other.
I think growing up I think parents have this kind of perfectionism gye basuubira mu baana kyesaali ojja kiba ekyo kati wekiriganiramu wekiti. Moreover, they know that life happens and they know themselves gye tuvudde yonna where I have been also
nange
tebyaba but nange naye kale olaba namala nebikola oba kitegeera. So expect that also nti omwana wo alina yeye bwatuuka nebyesibamukko. You know, there are phrases I saw over someone tweeted or something nga so people are telling us, you guys, me I'm 32 na isi nafumbirwa. You guys, me I'm when I start 29 nafumbirwa wasa, then everything I lost. So
I'm now divorced at 35.
Yes. Moreover, they got all the things they wanted. You know, before our parents' expectations at 31. 35
we need to understand parents. We need to understand that every child has their own timetable. Katonda gye yamutegekera nti si buli omuntu I know for you to be married at 25 that means you're successful, or for you to have a job after campus immediately it means that you're the one who is successful. What if me I'm building my business and building business can take you some time. So what if my business actually picks up at 25?
Yeah, and then the brother who took a route of
first get
you know, employment is actually so okay.
So sometimes parents to know kwejjamu your expectation inti it's supposed to flow like this and like this and like this, you know.
And now that we're even talking about expectations, we need to look at how parents should make sure they balance it out when it comes to different siblings and the different stages they are going to, you know, achieve their own success. Because I saw some Nigerian man was trying to rant out that brother we who is younger agagawadde okumusinga y'omukulu, and now parents
Oh, basse.
Mutabani waffe omuto.
Gwe tutasaako n'amaaso nnyo.
You know, he was trying to say parents temuteekawo ekyo ekintu. You're going to destroy your children's relationships. Wabalina okuba nga baagalana ate bakolagane muli muzitta. Okitegeera.
You're making the other one feel less of another.
Yes.
Yet osanga nga nono naye ayinayo achievements in their own level.
And regardless of what ebayina, let us not forget that oli mukulu wono. Yes. And this one has in
can
every
still
way
guide them.
Respect the other one. You know? So ate you never know. Nga oli mukulu yeyamba n'omuto soma. You can't start acting out ntino because kino kiva mu buto. You start showing your children ona abasinga. Mwe temunyumya. You start discriminating.
Nti ono omulaba ye mugezi.
Ono mulaba mugezi, ono mulaba ajja kuba
ne mwe ebisiro.
Ne mwe. You know, so that because of parental expectations, abazadde babula.
Kituufu, actually it's hard to balance. Kuba naawe omuzadde, because remember as parents you want to incline so much to success, so akoze byoyagala go bringing her closer. Yet everyone has
but
their
I think it's terrible, but many parents
it is akoze byoyagala ye mulungi, yet everyone can learn and turn out their own separate way. But all children are different. So learn.
How can we balance it out to balance the parental expectations? Nange nfunemu byensuubira munnange as a parent, but then no one angalemewuliranga as if okitegeera. I think there should be some level of flexibility mu muzadde, you know, and effective communication.
For me, I think the best way to do it is, instead of wanting to impose, at least you try to guide omwana mu path ye gy'ayagala. When you identify someone's strength, when you identify where their intelligence lies, nogamba omwana wange no ayagala nnyo kino oba yaŋŋambye ayagala kino, because I mean children they speak, because you know omwana wange ayagala kino, omwana wange nalabye nga ayagala nnyo kino, oba kati ali so inclined to this, oba yakyusizza kati ayagala music, oba kati, you know, guide them in every path that they do. Some children unfortunately don't know what they want, nga kituufu fa balina obbalaga naye w'osanga omwana nga ye yakwegambidde kyayagala toki opposinga, because I mean they're in a generation where they have seen a reason as to why now they want it. Alabye nga if I do music, maybe within like 10 years I can become a producer, or I can have my music studio, or I can do my label. You know, there are different dynamics of like music itself. It doesn't mean that doing music you only have to become a musician. There are very many different. You can become a creative, a songwriter, nga omwana waina ability gwe gy'oyagala okutuulira. So instead, when you see them going that direction, light their path. Muyambeko kati mugulire ku butabo bwa music, mugulireko ku expand on their exposure in that field that they have chosen. And I think that in that omwana ali happy, ate naawe omwana wo mulaba nga akula mu kintu kyayagala, because omwana wo akula nga akola kyayagala, ne wakifailingamu ajamanya nti I surely tried and it just didn't work out.
Another balance would be emphasizing, you know, letting your child make sure that they grow, you know, emphasizing personal growth, you know, and self-discovery. Because what really disturbed us, or what disturbed us growing, was we weren't sure about where we want to go, you know.
No one was there to guide us.
There was some kind of okuwumulamu on our parents' side, because Kastanza school fees musasudde atena mazeyo ochanjagazachi. I remember my dad saying that, you know, nze namusasudde kati ochanjagazachi. As in owange gwawedde, the rest is up to
anything
you. And
else
at that time I used
business.
to feel like, yeah, it's really true. Now let me do my part. You
like
know?
Which part?
So I think my own self-discovery was at school, interacting with people. What are my real interests? You know? What are my real hobbies, by the way? I remember there's a time in my life where people used to ask me, what are your hobbies? And they're like,
oh, what? You even speak other people's hobbies?
Yes. Yes.
Actually, you just pick the hobbies, you know.
Yes, you just pick the hobbies. You know, even ones you've never tried out.
Done, yes.
But aren't bakusabye hobbies. You speak. So you find a child aina
okay, on that same point, I think that's why we as parents, we need to add on also exposure. For our children, we need to make sure that they know well for them to decide. Katinga ogambye checha hobbies. No, kenyinyi hobbies why tomanches. Ozimu chezitegeza, tomanye zimu je bazikolera. Sometimes you don't even know where swimming takes place. You've never gone. Yes, you just see them because we read them and we know about them, you know. But you don't know the depth of them. Kat for me, for example, I am the kind of person whom was given liberty to be exposed as a child, and I feel like this is something that helped me to realize that njagala chino nakigezaako naye nazula nti kisikyagala. Personally, I have a friend at campus. They told me, you know what, we go to clubs, what those kind of happenings and all that. And you know what, because I had the liberty, like tewali ngana naye bazingambako nti owaye mu clubs wabirayo bino wabirayo busegu what and all that, but I had never seen. But I gave myself a chance. Nze ng'omwana kati akuza ategire so asobola okwesalirawo. I gave myself a chance and said, let me go and try it out. When I went and I tried, I realized that this is not for me. Like yeah, surely babingana for your point where I can't handle everything is disgusting me. You know, like I'm not condemning those who go, but for me personally it didn't work for me. So what I'm trying to say is that exposure nungi omwana mfocho mugana obuganyi tozanyira woyo neighbor oba tozanye eyo gundi kakebe oba temusamba mpira mugenda kwekoona obugere muleka agusambe yeekoona obugere ategere nti banaye mupira beekoona obugere.
Now that you say it, people are really reserved these days, like bayibera indoors batya okitegeera beetyanga efuuka ensi yafuuka mbi naye it doesn't mean nti nno ababi be bangi. Tetugenda we're not going to give certain the win.
Yes,
ababisi be bangi abalungi be bangi, you know. Yes, do you consider yourself a good person? I do. Yes. That means there is also someone out there like you. Go to your neighbors. Talk to your neighbors. If you're not talking to your neighbors, ogenda sigala mune kali ka stigma ngugamba omwana wange nedda, you know. Go to your neighbors. Go nyini as a parent. Genda wezulire. Other than okuchirowooza obulowooza nti no my neighbors are bad, so my child talina kukkirira. People have seen homes. No one wenyini wetuli. Okitegeera. Ogenda okulaba nga weno flow tayogera no weno flow. You know. Menga, it's very simple. You as parents talk to each other.
Yes.
Then when this parent
mulimu obutuli then
you have some kind of reason.
I remember when we were growing up, we had some neighbors. Ngabatu gamba do not enter their house because oba nyumba yabwe erimu ekituli oba mulimu bajja tusina otula kumukeka ne gukuzuulayo, you know, those kind of things. But when you grow up, we went there and we didn't see anything. So we're like, why bana abantu bali babawalanira ki oshege. But it all came from rumors. Because oli mugagga nnyo, they feel like abagagga, because by then abagagga balinganga categorized nti oba bakozesaako ebyasitaani bikiwe, so they assume for you until the fact that you have all those cars and what then you actually these Illuminati or underground people. So that's how it was. Wetwakula tugenda olingizaayo mu nyumba tewali, tugenda okebera, tugenda okugenda ne tubeeyogeza nga they are normal people nga bambi they even wish to be our friends, you know. So this kind of things nga ogambye abazadde tulina naffe kenyini tetuleka abaana ku exposing aboka naffe kenyini, let's be involved in their exposure. Nti omwana nga aterozanyirewo ono kangendeyo and I become the mother, the friend of that person's mother, so that we baba bazanya I know who they are playing with, I know the environment,
even the other mother to know nti omwana java all these people
these are the mother,
they are responsible. Yes. I mean they came to see me personally. That is even a sign of respect. No matter what, bagina kuba bamwagala nanyo because you showed them that
you're a responsible parent. You actually care about your child.
So another thing would be respecting each other's differences, or respecting your child's differences. You know, no beranga tomulemerako oba and their choices, because as they get older togenda ba controlling as as you do when they are younger.
Yeah.
But as they get older, they are going to see more than you think. Yeah? Find out more than you think. Do more than you think. Or what you take it. So respect their differences. Now I'm not saying in the lines of there is gay and whatever those things. Or what you take it. Now there are some differences I will not really align myself with.
Yes.
Or what you take it. And even some choices, you know. But then if you look into it, I have decided that
I want to transition.
Oh, that is a nightmare. I want to study in Mbarara. Akulide Kampala. You as a parent oliwe Kampala. No ulidanga mamega kukutula. Like you want to go that far? Like why? I watch together. But somehow muleke. As long as you know you can afford the school out there. Now. Yes, I did now.
He will survive. Go to the gym. You know, Bambi, we have fears.
But now he doesn't know the place. But now what?
He will figure it out.
Yes. After all, it was his choice. Watch it again.
Yeah. Well, something else that I thought of could be personally the Christian values that we were brought up with. Some of these Christian values help you as a parent to bring up these children, or to give them some kind of direction, or fear. Let me say fear. Because when they know that this is something that, according to my religion, this is something that God doesn't want.
Exactly.
This is something that God approves of. On the point of that point that you said of homosexuality, if you know that according to your religion or according to your Christian values, there are certain kind of matches I'm exposed, line boundary when these Christian values are the ones that help them to give them these boundaries, you know. My friends are going out, they're smoking, they're enjoying and all that. It's cool and they're doing this and that, but I'm not going to do it because of my values. So this enables them to be grounded in, you know, newotali. In the Bible that omwana omukulize mu kkubo eritya Katonda wali kulatali livamu. So omwana apart from gwe byomwagaliza, because naffe tetuli Katonda tetumanyi nnyo birungi bigenda beerayo, we don't know too much that we can control and can't control, but God knows, you know. So teach these children these values such that when they grow up newaba akuze atoli naye asobola okwekomako ku bintu ebimu byagenda okukola, because amanyi what he stands for and what he stands for. Okay, boundary gyalina okusala ne gy'atalina kusala.
And that is something that as African parents ekyo kyo baba, they are good. They are really good
at praying,
you know. Even if Osanzani or Bosanzani, all of us have that background. Oba Msilamu, Oba Muchi, all of us have a background in the spiritual setting. You know, we all have a background. So which is very good. Chituyambieko in Africa.
Yes.
Chituyambi dindala. Regardless, there are so many influences that are going to come around us.
You can't come. You know, there's somewhere I read that says that these children, our role is to make sure that we give them a conducive environment to grow, to, you know, we nurture them, we watch over them, you know. So, but we're not supposed to feel like we own them entirely.
They're not property.
Yes, they're not really up to what they turn out is not really our business, or it's not really in our control. Therefore, what your child turns out, you did your part. I try to teach them the right way, the bad way. I try to show them, I try to expose them, I try to do this and that. You know, what they turn out, that's what maybe they were meant to be.
Yeah, and another thing is, yes, I want parents to understand that they are the most important influence in their parents' life, in their children's lives.
Yes.
But then there are also other influences.
Yeah.
You know, however much you're the most important one. Yeah. Because a child might want to work towards making you happy. Everything that is really driving them is to make you happy. Or what you take it up. But then there are other influences. They begin to sanga as they're growing up. How are they going to handle being with friends? How are they going to handle when they reach conflict and all that? you know, as a parent waliwo ogendo tuuka olabe nga yo influence inawe goma okitegeera especially nga bali awo mu teenage years nga influence you awira nga you're the last person they want to
actually you're nagging at that point.
Yes, you're nagging at that point. So manya ntino chose or instilling is what is going to help your child blossom at that age when they feel like they don't need you.
So that means our role is more significant ngabato tutandike kati mu misingi, because the misingi giri very important.
Yes,
when you instill something in your child, or when you have some realistic expectations and you follow up realistically, ogenda kusanga nga kigenda kwangwira as they grow. Sigwe kwagala kikolanga akuze, because wobo kikola akuze at this time she thinks she's grown enough to think for herself. Everyone is not valid at that age. I can stand on my own. And in that space, as a parent, you need to give your child space, because you're in their space, they are also in your space. For you to be able to love each other well, you need to give yourself space.
Yeah, so that is why it is important that wanongokuza omwana, teach them obedience, teach them being trustworthy, so that you will trust them. You will know that she's going through a hard time, but she will manage. It, you know,
she'll manage, because I taught her not to give up.
Apart from trusting your own methods of parenting as a parent, now olabenti no muna methods ankanze sige tezibadde mbi mukulizaamu katonda mukulizaamu okubeeranga kande bengeje zinavaamu kubanga waliwo time omanya wogenda okutuuka nga musika muguwa temwetegeera. You know, actually when they grow up still on that same point of space, even when they have their own idea, let them exercise it on themselves. Omwana azena kugamba daddy njagala kola business, tugenda ku manufacturing over soap, we're going to manufacture soap. Don't be on them ate okitegeera. Much as wamwade advice or go ahead, or you know, capital or something like that, give them space to exercise their thing on their own and see if it will actually flourish or not. Tomuyingirira atombeleko abakozi obesiga bulungi manje njagala kuletera kabo mukyalo kyaffe manje njagala kuletera kino, like you want to still be involved even in there. So we need to learn as parents to give our children space to exercise their own interests. Tulabe je banachiguza. You know, sometimes these children are too powerful, even more than us. For twins auntie, we can really run for them everything, but they can run extremely. I tell imagine you're limiting them
1,000 times even more than us. So baleke, trust that they are their own being and they can also do something on their own.
I remember growing up and I used to come to my dad with so many different ideas every time. Because he would be like, hey, okay, so how are you going to execute it? Every time. I don't remember him telling
you the how to do it.
Me, I just remember him. The only thing I remember was Ngabela, another one. But he never told me at one point
that this one is not good. Or that this one is not good.
Yeah. No. But I had a zillion things to tell him. But I liked that because it made me feel like I need to keep on always trying.
You're right.
You know.
That's why I want to ask our parents out there, what kind of parent do you want to be? Do you want to be the kind of parent omwana gwatia to come back to and tell you that, you know what, I'm experiencing such a challenge, I took my own path. Prodigal son. I took my own path, but I'm able to come back home to you, and if I did wrong, I apologize. If I did well, I am here to share with you maybe my success, my you know, fruits that I've gotten. Or you're the kind of parent nga because omwana wamugobera wala wamuzaluka no muzalukuka. So ne wafuna failure tebikwatako, ne wafuna success tebikukwatako. So they can no longer count on you. You're this kind of parent where omwana baba mwade suspension. Togena na kumanya.
Because
again,
they feel like they can talk to you.
They can't count on you. Yes, they can't count on you. So which kind of parent do you want to be? These expectations are the ones that also mold the relationship that we have with these children, because at the end of it, the favorite parents probably know better fall back. We're supposed to be the fallback position. It is home, just like it is literally home. It's supposed to be the place where he comes back and cries. Home is supposed to be where he comes back for advice. Home is supposed to be the place where you as the parent, you're providing something, you know, because of the connection. Yes.
So let your expectations as a parent be in sync with what your child is looking out for themselves. So ultimately, also parental expectations have, you know,
something good.
Yeah, something good. It is okay as a parent to expect, because you know you're molding someone into something, and therefore kachibechi even if you're starting a business, there's something you're expecting out of it. So it is okay, you know, we're not rubbishing parental expectations, but so
in control.
Control.
So what are some of the positive, just as we conclude, let's look at some of the positive outcomes that have come out of parental expectations and they've influenced our children positively.
I think they have kind of motivated children to be better, because if your parent comes to you and tells you, you know what, I really want you to be this really outstanding child in class because I know you can, you know, I know you can.
Like motivating
what is really so hard?
Yes.
You know, you've always been so good in class. I think you can do it. Now, me as a parent, I'm trying to pull out my expectations. Now, in one way or the other, I'm motivating.
For me, I'm an example. I was the kind of child who wanted to do things, but I was scared. And I feel like if someone had motivated me, if someone had told me, you can do it, you know, what you're doing is good, just go ahead, you know, that kind of support, I think I would be able to explore other things that I didn't explore at that time. Yes. And another point that is good, that has turned out good, is role model. Like as parents, we act out as role models for our children. For example, if you're a parent who has really laid out your life well, you have a significant influence in your life, maybe you're an MP or you're a speaker, you've already laid out your kind of path, or maybe you have your big business or something that is significant. Sometimes it helps to motivate or to help to be role model to your children. They want to be like mommy, they want to be like daddy, they want to copy from you the kind of characters or things that you have made, that you've been able to build for yourself. Therefore, that's something good from expectation. If such a parent expects from their child, you know that they're expecting something good for them, from them.
Yeah, of course. In parental expectations, obviously there are things that are going to turn out well. There is something you're going to expect and it's going to turn out well. So with that, you're going to be happy and proud, and in turn you're going to, these children are going to react positively to it. So it's more of like a reinforcement. You know, parental expectations are a reinforcement for positivity towards children.
Finally, we can say that this kind of expectations help to build self-esteem and confidence. If your child has done something and then you support them where they are,
congratulate them.
Yes, and maybe it's turning out in the way that you expected. It helps them to feel like, oh, I'm actually doing the right thing. I'm actually making my parents proud. I'm actually, you know, in the path that they think I should have followed. So some of these children are happy doing what you want sometimes.
So summary of parental expectations: it is good if you balance it. It is wrong if you go beyond and it's unrealistic. So that's
what kind of parent do you want to be? And that question, we leave it for you. Thank you. That's it for today, and bye bye.